Welcome to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. November 20th. Great weekend coming up. Cotto Alvarez. Yes, the boxing matchup this weekend will be watched.
My fighter will beat your fighter, and we gonna get into that argument a little bit later.
Also have to pick between college football and NFL. Both pick sixes coming up. Of course, somebody's getting really low. Spoiler alert. Boxing may be involved in that one as well.
What can we say? It's Fight Friday.
Also have NBA talk. DeMarcus Cousins looked like he was ready for the fight.
Yes.
And there was a Thursday night football game, which I guess will be the first thing we talk about. Jacksonville Jaguars took care of business against the Tennessee Titans. I think we both believe the Jaguars would win.
Right. Mainly because they're playing for something. They're still in the hunt in their division. Who knows? Houston signed Brandon Smoking Whedon. Brandon Whedon.
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Brandon Whedon is no longer a Cowboy, but he is a Texan. Go ahead on,
Shout
Mr.
out
Wheaton.
to all the Texan fans.
Richie Rich, congratulations on your new quarterback, good sir. And thanks for listening.
The Jets Texans isn't our pick six. And I just looked down at who I picked. We'll see if that changes by the end of the show.
Oh, man.
Back to the game that occurred last night. We talked about Blake Bortles and Mariota matching up. If you actually look, it appears Mariota played a safer game. But I think the fact that Blake Bortles was willing to take those chances kind of helped the Jacksonville Jaguars win the game. Because you look at the stats tell you Tennessee probably should have won this game. But
Right.
At some point, you got to start scoring touchdowns, and special teams help Jacksonville out big time.
Rashad Green from that championship team in Florida State with Jameis Winston, famous Jameis, Devontae Freeman. Man, I said earlier I wish I had this guy on my team, Rashad Green, but then again I thought about it. Cowboys wouldn't use him.
And they have Lucky Whitehead.
Right. Another electric guy who we just can't seem to get the ball to during key times. Why, I do not know. But once again, this is not about my Cowboys. This is about Thursday's night game. Titans-Jaguars. Jaguars seem to keep the heat on a couple of teams off in the division anyway. Let them know, hey, we're still here. We're still alive. And needless to say, Tennessee is pretty much mathematically done.
Did you see the uniforms?
You know what? I don't really have a problem with this week's uniforms, except for, Jacksonville uniforms just look like. Ew. And last week, it was just like, Thanksgiving haven't even left yet. We already got, the Christmas ornament bowl.
The uniforms are not a good look right now.
Tennessee's didn't look bad. I mean,
They look almost exactly the same. That's why. You actually look at the color scheme, it's pretty much the same.
never go wrong with light blue though. I guess I like the color blue, regardless of what color blue it is. So
I find it a little bit questionable. If they would have went any lighter, it probably been questionable.
Marcus Mariota threw. He went 22 for 35, 231 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions, but had a rushing touchdown. Looked pretty good on that rushing touchdown as well. You also look across the field at Blake Bortles, 21 for 30. 242 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Once again, gunslinger mentality, but hey, once again, when you trying to make an effort to get the ball to, once again, to those two receivers who are young but up and coming receivers. You know, like you said, before you had a couple of Jaguars on your team tonight that played well. We had a couple of players, one from each team that played well for you tonight. Got you a couple of points on your FanDuel fantasy draft. I had the kicker actually. Kicker got me 9 points. I appreciate it. 9 points heading already into Sunday. I'll take it.
You look at the Jaguars, 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
Seem to be getting better and better this year. Is it possible for them to somehow win the AFC South?
You know what? I will have to see what it looks like next week. Why? Because we have to see what happens between the Jets and the Texans this week. And then we also have to see what happens with the Colts this week as well. You know, if both of those teams lose, then yes, Jacksonville is very, very, very much alive. But as of right now, I believe they're like 2 games back.
With this win, they're actually half a game.
Half a game?
Yeah.
Well, then they're pretty much still alive. That's on. I mean, I don't even have to wait till next week. Then I only have to wait till these 2 games. They're still in the mix. Like I said, it puts that much more pressure on Houston and Indianapolis to go out here and win their games.
They already lost 2 games, or 1 to each, Houston and Indianapolis.
And they still have games against them later on this season. Oh, yeah.
And
They still in the mix then. It's crazy because I feel like if they could protect Blake Bortles a lot more than they have protected him, he could be really good. Like the ceiling on this guy could be really high.
I'm going to list the remaining schedule for Jacksonville. Just tell me if you think they're going to win or lose. San Diego's next.
That's a toss-up, but I'm going to give them the win.
All right. Then it's Tennessee again.
They got the win. At Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll go in there and get the win. They're more than likely to open up the run game a lot more.
That right there would be 6-6. Then they play Indianapolis at home.
They'll lose it. They'll lose to Indianapolis at home.
All right. And then Atlanta.
Go ahead, mark it down as a loss.
At New Orleans.
That's a win.
At Houston.
That's a win.
That's 8-8. Does 8-8 win the AFC South?
Quite possibly. It can. It can.
It really can. That's
They game in. You said that they played in once Indianapolis. That's their next game. They was playing Indianapolis.
no, they were playing in Jacksonville.
They was playing in Jacksonville. You know what? I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna go 9-7 because I said they were going to lose that game. I think they'll win that game at home.
9-7. All right.
I think I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go 9-7, which I guess that means the Jacksonville Jaguars in the playoffs.
Looking at the Colts schedule, it doesn't seem that difficult. Their next game is at Atlanta.
They'll lose that game.
Then they have Tampa Bay,
A win,
Pittsburgh,
a loss, bad.
and you already have them losing at Jacksonville.
Right.
Then they play Houston and Indianapolis.
Houston may get that win.
Then at Miami.
That's a loss.
And then Tennessee.
Mark it down. I think they'll win that game. By then, Tennessee have been already realized what they are. They team tank. Let's get the top next. Has become number 1 pick again.
Yeah, you would have Jacksonville winning the division. Because I think
That would make them what 7? Indianapolis
7-9.
and Houston set about 7-9 then. Yep. Out of nowhere, Jacksonville didn't want to win it. Jacksonville didn't even want to win the division. They in the mix. Because I feel like if they can get them another solid offensive lineman in the first round, Luke Jokel plays the way everybody expected Luke Jokel to play, protect this quarterback. Who knows? Potentially grab a late round running back to help out T.J. Yeldon, who is nothing more than a split running back. Hey, this team could be somebody to deal with.
It would be very interesting if Jacksonville does indeed win the AFC South after everything that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Luck.
Check them out. Do you think they fired head coach if they don't make the playoffs?
That's what it looks like.
Right.
I hope they don't. But it's definitely what it looks like. They've given off all the signs that they're going to clean house.
Exactly.
Coming up on the Sports Machine, Cotto versus Alvarez. We're right up next. NBA. DeMarcus Cousins trying to get involved in the fight. Going back to the Sports Machine, this is Brian Franklin with the Sports Machine's daily sports ticker. In Major League Baseball yesterday, they announced the winners for the MVP awards. For the National League, the winner is Bryce Harper, who won unanimously. For the American League, the winner is Josh Donaldson. In last night's Thursday night football matchup, the Jacksonville Jaguars won a big game against the Tennessee Titans, 19-13. It's the first time the Jaguars have won consecutive games since December of 2013. In the NBA, Sacramento Kings star DeMarcus Cousins has been suspended for one game for hitting Atlanta Hawks player Al Horford in the head with a forearm. The game in which Cousins was suspended from occurred last night, in which the Sacramento Kings lost 116-109 to the Miami Heat. In the two other NBA games last night, the Cleveland Cavaliers won by a big margin against the Milwaukee Bucks 115-100. In the late night thriller, the Golden State Warriors remained undefeated. It wasn't easy though. They had to come back from a 23-point deficit to beat the Los Angeles Clippers 124-117. This is the Sports Machine. Just went over the Jaguars win over the Tennessee Titans.
Now that sounded so smooth. I practiced my news about 10 times just to try not to slip up.
Don't give away trade secrets over here. No one needs to know.
This dude is clutch over here, man. I'm always amazed at your sports tickers because he just write them down 10 minutes before we do the show. 10 minutes. No lie on everything. 10 minutes before we do the show, he got his sports ticker down. Clutch.
Don't even practice.
Don't even practice. Walking freeze over here, man. So if I practice, then I could be like 10 times. No, back to the NBA preview. Oh, man.
DeMarcus Cousins has been suspended.
Right on.
I just mentioned they lost that game to
But-
Miami, but did you see the forearm?
Man, like, I think me and Boogie would have had to get down, man. Like, yo, like, shout out to Al Horford for being a bigger man and going back. Because, like, man, like, yo, that was intentionally to the face. Like, that was to the jaw slat, like, to the whole left side of his face. Like, he was, like, just angry, try to boo. Like he was a mark or something. Like, you know, that's what you do to somebody who you think is a chump. Then who you think, he a chump, so I'm gonna punk this fool. He ain't gonna do nothing. And that's exactly what that looked like. Look at the video. When I saw it on CBS Sports, I was like, nah, me and Bookie would have had to get down. 10 games, 15, 25, 50 games. Yo, I don't care.
So I give him a lot of credit, Al Horford a lot of credit, because I think the natural retaliation from me would have been a lot worse.
To at least book. Like,
Yeah,
he
at
looked
least
at the rim like,
do
what are you
something.
going to do? Like, no, I'm a grown man. I got a wife and kid at home, man. Think my kid finna go to school getting picked on? Your daddy got stole off on the face.
No.
He ain't do nothing. Well, probably not these kids today. Because, you know, our era kids, your daddy a punk. And that's how it would start. That's how it would start. I ain't even know my daddy like that, but I would still go, we'll fight. Especially if it was about my mama. Oh, what you just say about my mama? You know be that kid, pounding your fist like after school, I got you, man. Don't even think about nothing else. Don't worry about homework.
In that game I mentioned that occurred last night,
Yeah.
in which the Heat won, Rondo had 14 points and 18 assists and 9 rebounds. Just thought I would mention that.
Yeah, but see, once again, like, if he could continue to do that on a consistent basis, it's like he could be put back into that top 5 point guard mix. Because last year, that's what I thought that's what I thought the Mavericks was getting. Mr. Triple-double from time to time, but mostly his assists and his rebounds.
Hassan Whiteside had 4 blocks, I believe, in a 7-minute stretch.
Man. Yo, he's secret. He's flying under the radar right now at the center position. Between everybody talking about Andre Drummond in Detroit, Marcus Cousins, New York Kristaps Porzingis. I think I may have butchered his name, but let's just call him Kristaps. Porzingis. I think, yeah, Porzingis. Once again, if I butchered your name, bro, please forgive me. But he got New York fans up there chanting his last name now. I'm like, yo, not that long ago, y'all was booing this dude about as bad as Philly was booing Donovan McNabb when he got drafted. Now look at you.
Players that get booed when they get drafted play better. That's what I just got out of that. Because I know you're a hater on Donovan McNabb, but dude is a Hall of Famer.
I just don't like. He was a Philadelphia Eagle. That's all. Like you said, I don't got no plex with his career. It's the fact that he was an Eagle majority of it. The Eagles gets no love. I'm pretty sure my girlfriend's listening, so she's like, "Oh yeah, we don't get no love." Nope. All Eagles still gets no love. All you can get is a.
Moving on. Cavaliers beat the Bucks 115-100. Notables: the Greek Freak scored 33 points in a losing effort.
Man, that dude there is just. I can understand why they call him the Greek Freak, though. I mean, he's just freakishly good. Like, dude almost pulled a Serge Ibaka in the game. Those who don't know, Serge Ibaka went in the dunk contest. He actually dunked from the free throw line.
Didn't get no love for it either.
Exactly, but it's because he's 7 foot tall. Like, everybody's like, oh, that wasn't nothing. But it's like, I don't think y'all understand how far the NBA free throw line is from the goal. He actually took off a step behind the free throw line. Look it up. YouTube it. Check it out. He dunked from beyond the free throw line.
His dunk where he, I don't know, pulled down a little stuffed animal with his
With
mouth.
his teeth?
The fact that he didn't get any love for that is like,
Yo.
you realize how high you have to be to do that?
Exactly. Like, his chin was like, he had it real high. Like,
I can't get into that dunk contest because Joe Green got screwed too when he blew out the candle. Like, he blew it out from up top.
Like, he had to
means
look
his
over
full
first.
head was over the rim.
yeah.
All right. Cleveland Cavaliers notables from that game. LeBron James, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, doing what he does with Kevin Love, 22 points and 15 rebounds.
Once again, I think the question would always be, what happens with the chemistry of that team when Kyrie comes back and is healthy? Because Kyrie needs the ball in his hand, correct? He needs the ball in his hand to make plays, to do what he has to do. There's not enough ball to go around when you start looking at they got J.R. Smith and, like you said, Kevin Love, LeBron James, Tristan Thompson. And I'm just trying to name some of the starters right now. Mo Williams. Not enough ball to go around.
We went through enough filler right there. It's time to get into the Warriors-Clippers game, which the Warriors won after the Clippers were up by a big margin.
They were killing them.
They were. Chris Paul had a great game, especially early on in the game. 35 points.
He scored his first 18 points in the first quarter. It was like 7 for 7.
Blake Griffin had a good game. We'll say he turned the ball over a little bit too much, but it's kind of what you get with Blake Griffin, it seems like. The only player that really played, I'm not going to say poorly, was Jamal Crawford, who shot the ball pretty bad. But with all that going right, they still lost the Golden State Warriors. Stephen Curry had 40 with 11 rebounds.
I said earlier when we was talking about this game, for them to have been up 23 points and to lose this game when the Warriors really wasn't shooting all that well, wasn't playing that great, and the Clippers was playing some of their best basketball for them to look like they came out motivated and ready for this game. For them to still lose, their hearts have been taken out by Golden State already. You can call it an overreaction or knee-jerk reaction, but I think they still played them at least another couple of times.
Yeah, they played 2 more times.
They do. As of right now, yeah, they have to be looking at. They can't sit back and say, "Oh, well, we'll get them next time," or "We'll get them next time," because as of right now, the one time you could have got them just to kind of even the series up between the two, you didn't get it. So you just can't say, well, we got it next time.
I mean, the Warriors did shoot 56% from the 3-point line.
Once again, that's what you're going to get from this team, though, in my opinion. Especially like when I said that this team, the way they play basketball, it's controlled helter-skelter basketball. If you give this team any second chance points, 9 times out of 10 it's going down. If anybody's left uncovered going in for the rebound, it gets tipped back out to either one of these shooters on this team, mark it down. It's either 2 or 3. It's good. And that's how this team beats you in so many different ways, whether it's defense, whether it's with their offense, whether it's in the fast break, whether it's with turnovers. You practically have to play a perfect game to beat this team.
We don't have very much time, but we have to fit it in. Say what you told me before the pre-show.
Oh, man, I almost forgot. How could I forget? Okay, I was reading his Facebook post. You know, I follow this guy. He has his own little sports debate deal on Facebook, and I follow him. He puts out a little ad, and it was a link to like a page that said, you know, one way how Ayesha Curry keeps Stephen Curry, let's say, motivated is if he hits 5 threes in a game, he gets it any way he wanted. Think about it. He gets it. Now, I'm trying to work with me here. Work with me, please. He gets it. That's his wife. He gets the loving any way he wants it. I'm shooting. Have y'all seen Ayesha Curry first and foremost? If you haven't, you have to be on the moon for like forever. For at least a year. His wife, I'm an eyes man, and she has some of the most beautiful. I love a woman with some good eyes, and man, she got those eyes, and I'm like, God, I'd shoot from that.
By the way, he made 6 threes.
So needless to say, we know what's going on. That went on last night in the Curry household while the kiddos was sleeping.
He's done it 8 times this season already.
So we know what that went down in the Curry household these 8 times this season.
I'm not gonna lie, I looked at it earlier before the show, and he did it 34 times last year, including the postseason.
We know what went down in the Curry household last year, 34 times last season. Ma'am, please teach these other women out here who don't know what they doing something. That's how you keep a brother motivated.
It explains why he shoots so many threes.
Exactly. I'll be shooting them from half court too. Bow, baby. That's 1 down. 4 more to go. 2 down. 3 more to go.
Moving on before you end up in a boxing match with somebody. Cotto Alvarez, right here. Boxing match
Oh, yeah.
coming up tomorrow.
It's about to go down.
For those of you who don't know, I picked Canelo Alvarez.
Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Rico.
Dean got Miguel Cotto.
Yep.
May or may not have been discussions.
We won't talk about any wagers. We cannot confirm or deny any $200 bets. Cannot confirm or deny an additional $100 bet to a certain young man. Cannot confirm or deny that I'm challenging anybody else who wants to bet to this great fight that's going down tomorrow. That we gonna get to watch. That we gonna get to watch straight from the crib. I went straight hood on this one, man, because I honestly think this is my take, real quick. Either Miguel Cotto wins by decision or he gets knocked out. Now, because I picked Cotto, I'm hoping he wins it by decision. Goes to 12 rounds. He puts on a boxing lesson. Bam. Someone who I cannot confirm or deny, a couple $100 richer. Now, if it goes the other ladder, someone who I cannot confirm or deny is $300 poor. Once again, in the tail of the tape, man, you know, Miguel Cotto was 35. Alvarez is 31. Tail of the tape, Miguel Cotto is about 5'7", 5'8". You also have Canelo Alvarez standing at about 5'11" tall. So he has the height advantage. He also has the reach, a 3-inch reach advantage over him too. But we both agree that won't really matter because of the fact that Alvarez is an inside fighter.
Likes to get inside. So,
like, he's a banger. He's a true Mexican warrior. You know, they like to get in there. They like to bang. But for those of you wondering why I picked Miguel Cotto to win this fight, is because of the new style that Freddie Roach has brought to Miguel Cotto that has him looking like a different man, a different fighter than what he was 3 years ago. This Miguel Cotto right here is a guy who looks to land his shots, and instead of staying in taking unnecessary shots, he gets his shots, get out, works his feet, make you come to him and work, and then put some more whooping back on you. See, that's what I like. That's what I've seen is his inside-outside game is sick right now. It is so sick. I mean, especially the last fight he had. I mean, one fighter was in one class and, like, you know, I guess you say first class, and this other guy was back there in the doggone luggage. That's the difference of level of the fighters that was fighting that night. Now Canelo Alvarez is coming up off a great knockout of a great fighter as well. And I mean, once again, these guys are coming out there to fight. Anytime Mexico and Puerto Rico get in the ring, it's a great fight.
I agree. Miguel Cotto is probably the smarter fighter of the two. It's probably not even that close when it comes to
more
boxing
experience.
line.
Right.
Miguel Cotto, a lot of respect for Miguel Cotto. I just think Canelo Alvarez, I think since the Floyd Mayweather incident, where he looked like a fool. He started swinging. Once he started missing, Canelo Alvarez
Frustrated.
just extremely frustrated.
Out of his game.
Starts swinging big, wider and wider, looking foolisher and foolisher.
Right. And that came with the fact that Mayweather is not only the greatest defensive fighter of the generation or who we seen, you know what I'm saying, from who we seen, but that ring generalship. People forget that Mayweather is a great ring general, you know, not to mention, you know, the boxing experience. He knew in his mind that all he had to do was get the young bull frustrated, and once the young bull got frustrated, he was done.
I think since that fight, Alvarez has grown and improved
Right.
by a vast amount.
Right.
And I think that Miguel Cotto is not Mayweather, in my opinion, when it comes
Right.
to defense.
Right.
And he has gotten better as of late with Freddie Roach. Train him not to take those hits, not
Right.
to trade hits.
Right.
But I don't believe it's going to be enough to keep Alvarez from hitting him. I think Miguel Cotto is going to take shots.
Well, I mean, like you said before, it's boxing. So if you don't want to get hit, you don't get in the ring. So some people's both fighters are going to get hit. But I go back to the point that you just made, that when he fought Floyd Mayweather as being the younger fighter, the experience kind of took over. Now I know he had some pretty good fights since then, and he's learned a lot more. But I still look at the fact that Miguel Cotto has the more big fight experience between the two. He has more big fight experience. Not to mention, he has the ring experience, that age. With that age comes a certain kind of wisdom that you just can't learn as a youth. Which is why I lean more towards Cotto. I understand that Canelo Alvarez, once again, is not a shot at Canelo Alvarez. I mean, he's a young bull. He's a young bull, man, and a tremendous, tremendous fighter. Got a number of respect for his box game and how he dedicates himself to his sport, what he does for his country, and what he represents. But it's just in this fight, to me, it was a no-brainer to me to pick Cotto for the reasons I stated just a second ago.
I think Miguel Cotto takes early rounds, judge-wise.
Yeah.
But the later the fight goes, the more he gets hit. Hopefully, Alvarez's corners come up with a good game plan. Get into Cotto's body, slow him down.
Right.
To where he can't move in and out as much since it's not really his natural game anyway.
Right. And that's a good point because that's one of the knocks on Cotto is the fact that he tends to fade in the late rounds of the fight. So now I'm hoping that's not the case this fight. But when Miguel Cotto fought Floyd Mayweather, had he pursued it, could have knocked him out in the 12th round because anybody who's a boxing fan or like I said, a boxing fan or a fan of just all sports in general saw that fight, noticed that he staggered Miguel Cotto in that fight. Like I said before, his legs was wobbling. He was almost out of it. Could have went and finished it out, but that's not Mayweather style.
I do think this is probably the closest fight prep in a while. There's been big fights before this in boxing,
right,
but most of them was like you knew Triple G was going to win.
Exactly.
You knew Mayweather was going to win. You knew who the winner was probably going to be. You were just hoping to see an upset. This one is kind of
like a 50-50.
Like this really could go either way.
Right. I agree with that.
Coming up on the Sports Machine, college football, NFL Pick 6 right here.
I am Dwayne Dean, and this is your Sports Machine News Update. University of Houston understands it has the hottest coach in the country in Tom Herman, which is why the school's Board of Regents approved an increase in Herman's annual salary from $1.3 million to $3 million during the Thursday meeting. Quote, "We're going to make it really hard for him to choose to go to another institution," Houston's athletic director, Hunter Yurchek, said. Michigan fans find themselves in an odd position this week with Ohio State playing Michigan State. It's actually better for Michigan that the Buckeyes beat the Spartans. An Ohio State win combined with the Michigan win over Penn State this week would mean the annual showdown between the two rivals on November 28th will be a Big Ten East championship game. Ohio State has gotten to spend some time in the White House, getting honored by President Barack Obama after winning the national title last season. And on Thursday night, things got presidential once again, with a visit from the 42nd President of the United States. Bill Clinton was in town to deliver a speech on campus and spent about 20 minutes at practice and posed for a photo with star running back Ezekiel Elliott. That was your Sports Machine News Update. I am Dwayne Dean, Sports Machine.
Sports Machine with Brian and Dean went over the Thursday night game in which the Jaguars beat the Tennessee Titans 19-13. Went around the NBA. DeMarcus Cousins, Stephen Curry hitting 5 threes in the game, getting something for it. Cotto versus Alvarez, who you got? It's time to get in the college pick 6. A lot of big college games this weekend. Big 12, big week. Let's get started in the Big 10. You just mentioned in your news update.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan still has a chance for the Big 10 East to make it to the Big 10 championship game.
Right.
But they have to take care of business at Penn State, do they?
Most definitely. It's not going to be an easy game for them. But because it's not going to be a easy game for them, and when I look at this game, when I look at the home game, I'm going with Penn State at home. Mainly because, as of late, Penn State has actually played pretty well.
They have.
And they've also looked good in a couple of wins, but once again, I'm just not sure about Michigan being on the road. That's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to for me in this game. It was like such a 50-50 pick for me. It was like, hey, flip a coin. I mean, heads or tails, who you got? And for me, it was just Penn State at home.
I can understand why Michigan has had some close calls here recently, especially with Indiana going to double overtime. Minnesota almost getting beat by Minnesota. The defense that looked so strong at the beginning kind of started to give way.
Yeah.
Even though the quarterback, Jake Rudock, has actually performed really well since that gift basket of a game against Utah.
Right. Do you think their slipping defense has been because of the fact that sometimes when you feel like I said before, in my opinion, teams are going to play this whole season to do what? They're playing this whole season to get to be one of the top 4 teams to be in the playoff. So if you feel like you don't stand a chance at being in the playoff with your 2 losses, do you think sometimes that kind of has an effect on the team, the mentality?
Oh, yeah, I think so. See, all this started happening after the Michigan State game in which they lost.
Right.
I think
In such a horrible way too, man. Like I still go out to him for that loss.
I still have Michigan stay in it.
And you wouldn't be a true Michigan fan if you didn't. That's the way I look at that. I ain't mad at you for that.
Next up, Memphis, 21st ranked, going into Temple, who gave Notre Dame a run for their money.
Exactly.
Like to mention that. In the American Conference that seems to have popped up out of nowhere with actually good teams.
Between Temple, Memphis, University of Houston, who's undefeated right now.
Who you got?
I'm going with the home team again. I'm picking Temple. It's not a knock on Memphis. I like their quarterback, Lynch. Lynch, man, he can play.
Yeah, I got Memphis just for that reason.
Paxton Lynch, he can play. I had the opportunity to actually watch that game last week between Memphis and Houston, how Houston came out with the win with a guy who hadn't played quarterback in quite some time. They actually had to go down to their receiver to play quarterback for Houston last week, and they wound up getting the win off a turnover. And so I sometimes wonder how a team recovers from a loss like that, especially a team like Memphis, who's not used to being a football power, who's not used to being in the mix as though they're not used to being in. Right now, they're a top 25 team. They're 21.
I was impressed by the way they played last week, even though they did lose.
Right.
I like their offensive game.
Right.
I think it'll be a high scoring game, but I'll take Memphis. Next up, LSU. It's fallen off the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. You
Going
talk
in-
about a team that's falling off the wagon. They fell off the wagon pretty hard.
Going to Ole Miss, who had a similar thing happen to them earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking LSU. I think Leonard Fournette's going to come back. I think it's going to run on them.
I am Ole Miss. I think it's a copycat. It's a copycat league. The NFL and college football. What Alabama exposed was what you could do to this team. If you can stop Leonard Fournette, 8 men in their box. If you stop the run game early, you can beat this team. You can beat this LSU team. But if he gets going early and often, if they make you have to, when they make you have to respect the run to the point to where you don't know when you're going to get beat with the pass, with the play action fake, then you're done. And I think this Ole Miss defense that did beat Alabama will show up at home and give LSU his 3rd straight loss. This is going to be a game.
This is going to be a game. I think Leonard Fournette's going to break through somehow.
Uh-huh.
To be honest, I think his average will actually probably be lower, but one run will boost it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of those games where it's like 2-3 yards every carry, but then a 70-yard rush makes it look
Out
like
of nowhere. Exactly.
I think it'll be one of those games for him because they will crowd the line. But I think if he breaks through, it is a double-edged sword when you crowd the line.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get past the line, there's no one there.
Nobody else back. Exactly. And, I mean, Leonard Fournette on any type of defensive back in college football, I mean, I take that win too. But As of right now, man, I got to stick with. I'm sticking with Ole Miss because of the fact they're playing at home and they're pretty solid defensively up front.
We were going to do this game last until some recent injuries. I went ahead and moved it up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
TCU going to Oklahoma.
Ah, yep. I've been a big TCU supporter. Big on both players from TCU and Josh Doxson and Trayvon Boykin. But earlier reports this week, Josh Doxson is out for the rest of the season. And it's a maybe. It's a maybe that Trayvon Boykin plays this week. And so I'm rolling with Oklahoma.
I am as well. I was actually going to pick TCU until I found out Josh Doxson was out for the rest of the year. I was like,
It's like, well, exactly, because when they played in Oklahoma State, the fact that every receiver that they had on their team was freshmen, and all of them was looking like they didn't know what was going on, how to make a catch, or like they was completely green. They looked green in Oklahoma State, and your one receiver, he's a one-trick pony. He's either deep or nothing at all.
Baker Mayfield's not to play with.
Nah, he's the heart and soul of this team. Once he gets it going, this whole team gets it going. Like I said, I have TCU. I have Oklahoma win this game and fairly easy, and it's gonna really suck for Oklahoma, especially if neither one of those guys. We know one is not playing, but especially if Trayvon Boykin doesn't play, because what we've said all through the week about the college football poll, that the eye test is 1 week, strength of schedule is 1 week. Well, when they start looking at the eye test for this game, they're going to say this team was missing its two top players that was in the running for the Heisman Trophy.
They still have to play Oklahoma State later in the season.
Right.
So that's another opportunity to boost their ranking. Speaking of Oklahoma State, at home against Baylor. Huge game for the Big 12.
I'm sticking with the home team, as I have done so far throughout my pick six, mainly because of the fact that we see the freshman quarterback, and the freshman quarterback look like a freshman quarterback at home.
He did.
He's going into some very hostile territory in Stillwater. I said this before, that tragedy that happened at their homecoming parade has helped lift this team into something more. They're playing for something more. I really do hope this team, if they're able to get out with the win, makes it into the college football playoff. I feel like this team defensively with Emmanuel Agba and in that front seven can make some noise in the college football playoff. I have Oklahoma State winning this game, and I actually have them winning it very easy due to the fact that freshman quarterback going into such a hostile territory, man, he's not going to know how to react. I think the kid's going to crack under pressure.
I have Baylor winning the game under one sole reason, that I feel like the Big 12 is just kind of setting themselves up for failure, and it seems like it's going to bite them again.
Right, I can see that as well. I can see that happening.
You have all the good teams playing each other at the end of the season, which is really good for ratings.
Right.
Until you start looking when they start knocking each other off.
Right.
And now you have no one in the playoff.
And then when you start looking at the fact that, like with TCU, now you're starting to lose top guys during key time of the season.
Last game for the pick six, Michigan State going into Ohio State.
Sticking with the home team. I went home team all the way through my pick six, and I'm sticking with Ohio State. I think Ohio State is for real. I think it's a sham and a doggone shame, but this team is still not ranked number one when they have not lost a game since the first game of the season last year against a Virginia Tech team. They've been undefeated ever since, with the losses of quarterback, with the loss of a quarterback. Then another quarterback comes in, takes him to the champion, take him to the promised land to win it, to be the very first playoff national champion. I think Ohio State gets it, and it'll be a close one.
I think Ohio State wins, but I don't think it's going to be close. I think Ohio State's going to win this pretty handily. I think they're going to prove why they should be ranked in the top 4, even without the strength of schedule and eye test.
I think this is going to be one of those games where Ezekiel Elliott begins to make a push for the Heisman Trophy, to makes a big push in this game to be the lead Heisman Trophy candidate.
That's our pick 6 coming up. NFL pick 6. But first,
Really though. Really though.
somebody had to get it.
Yes.
I think we're ganging up on somebody today. Just because he keeps asking for it.
Like, he's been. How does the Edgar Allan Poe poem goes? The Raven, quote the Raven. I could hear something rapping, gently tapping on my chamber's door. And Oscar De La Hoya has been rapping, gently tapping on really though Chambers' door. All this week I've been trying, I've been trying not to give him the business. And I avoided him a couple of times with James Harden and Khloe Kardashian, even Donald Trump. But this time I have no choice. According to an ESPN story report, and quote, Oscar De La Hoya wants to say that he no longer wants to squash the beef between him and Floyd Mayweather.
Say it again. Say something else. Oh. Say something else. Say something else.
I agree with you, Pinky, because that's all he's done this whole week is have his face out. I mean, his face has been out there more than
Canelo's.
his face has been out there more than Cotto's too. I mean, I know you're the promoter, but good golly, you thought he was making a comeback. First and foremost, the reason why we're really knowing him is not only because of that, but it's his constant jabs that he's been trying to throw at Floyd Mayweather's way. One week he says, hey, we don't need Floyd Mayweather. This fight is going to be better than any Floyd Mayweather fight. And granted, everybody's entitled to their opinion. This is a free country. You have a right to say how you feel, however you feel, whenever you feel like saying it. But your jabs at Mayweather, even though Mayweather has beaten you when y'all fought, there is no beef for him. Mayweather hasn't responded to anything he said. He also he also told TMZ if he was 5 years younger, he'd come back and fight Floyd Mayweather again. Nobody asked you about it. Exactly. Everything he's done over the past week has either been a jab at Floyd Mayweather and even a jab at Miguel Cotto for the stripping of his title. So it's like, really though, what's really going on with you? Like, midlife crisis? Old life crisis?
I'll say it's not midlife anymore.
Well, exactly. Well, yeah, or you having like a, or you getting that itch to come back? I mean, what's really going on? Like,
Don't do it.
don't do it. Some
Please.
guys come out of retirement in your sport. You shouldn't come out of retirement because punch drunk is real.
It is.
It is very real.
I saw what Pacquiao looked like.
Yes.
He was unconscious.
Counting sheep.
Count him. De La Hoya. The first, just to start it off with his beef against Mayweather. Mayweather beat you.
Right.
So when you were talking about how he was ducking and dodging people and how he didn't have the greatest competition,
Right.
you were part of that competition.
Thank you. Like, what? I can't get my words out. I want to hit this dude so bad. He jabbing himself. And Floyd Mayweather even said himself, B, when him and De La Hoya fought, De La Hoya was the A and he was the B. Floyd Mayweather never ducked De La Hoya. De La Hoya ducked Mayweather. And then it wasn't until Mayweather bought himself out of his contract, that's when the fight actually happened. So, once again, good sir. Really though?
Really though. Stop the beef. You're the one supplying it.
Thank you. And this whole time, Mayweather's been quiet. Hasn't said nothing, hasn't responded back to nothing, anything. Latest thing we heard from Floyd Mayweather was his support of Ronda Rousey. Even though everybody couldn't wait for him to actually slam Ronda Rousey. He didn't. He just said, hey, if she needs some help with her boxing, it's all about reach and time, and I'm here for her. I think she'll bounce back. She's a true champion. Had the chance to really just deck her when she was down. No domestic violence intended. None intended. But once again,
De La Hoya, really though.
good God.
It's time getting their NFL pick 6.
Yeah, buddy.
Brandon Whedon
Brandon smoking weed.
going to Houston.
This team is done.
The Jets are also going to Houston.
He's taking the cowboy curse down to Houston with him.
Ah. Who wins between the Jets and the Texans?
The Jets. The Jets will win. It's easy. Ryan Fitzpatrick got something to play for because he was playing down there in Houston last season. And not to mention, they just picked up Brandon Whedon. So if TJ Yates gets hurt, who was that? Brian Hoyer, the Destroyer.
He's out.
He's out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If this defense can get to TJ Yates, they can get to him. And I don't wish any harm on anybody, and I'm not wishing harm on him, but if they take him out the game and Brandon Wheaton gets in the game, they are done. Stick a fork in him.
I have Houston winning the game.
Great job, sir.
Thank you.
You don't sound too confident about
I'm-
that pick, neither.
About 50.1% confident in that pick.
The fact that it's only 50.1 is funny. Because this dude's a pretty confident dude over there if he picks a team.
I was good until they picked up Brandon Whedon. I didn't even care that Brian Hoyer was out. I was like, that just shows poor decision-making skills.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I think DeAndre Hopkins lost to somebody.
Well, he's been doing it all season.
Yeah.
He's tearing up the league right now. Without a good quarterback, might I add.
I just like the way the Texans defense has been playing as of late.
Right.
I think they're going to pick up momentum after beating Cincinnati, and they are in the race for the AFC South.
I'll
This
pick
is
the
everybody.
Jets. My bad. I picked the Jets mainly because of the fact that they're trying to stay in the hunt after the division lost to Buffalo.
Both teams, something big to play for.
Right.
Two teams are 4-5. Buccaneers going to Philadelphia. Philadelphia seems to be the favorite, but Jameis Winston's been playing pretty well. Who you got?
I got the Bucks. Like you said, Jameis Winston has been playing pretty well until last week. He went a stretch of about 4 games without any interceptions, where it is the first part of the season he had like about 6 or 7 interceptions. Last week against my Dallas Cowboys, Jeff Heath caught 2 interceptions from Jameis Winston, but they were off of tip passes. Tip passes, whether he threw the ball too high, receiver tipped it. You know, anybody who knows anything about the NFL or football in general, tip passes leads to interceptions for the defense. Once again, the reason I picked the Bucks is once I found out Mark Sanchez is starting.
Sanchez. Yes.
Mark Sanchez has a bit of a gunslinger mentality. He thinks he can fit the ball in between 3 defenders. Now, granted, he's probably made that happen a few times, but he's been intercepted more times than completed. So the fact that he will go in there with that mind frame, and the fact that he has the pressure of trying to save Philly football,
I have the Buccaneers as well.
I think he choked.
We
I think he choked hard.
don't have to say all that.
Choking.
Have to do all that. I also have the Buccaneers in a close game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Me too. I think it's going to be one of those. I'm going to say 12-10. One team scores only through field goals, and it's going to be more likely to be the Bucks because the Eagles' defense is not really a slouch. They're no slouches. They got a pretty good front seven.
Another team with a new quarterback starting.
Mm-hmm.
Denver Broncos Going to Chicago.
Broncos. I got your Chicago Bears, the Bears, winning this game and staying in the hunt in the division. Potentially a wild card team, depending on what happens to the Packers.
Oh. Oh.
Yes.
Potentially a wild card team.
They've been playing with the way Jay Cutler's been playing. Boys gonna stop sleeping on Jay Cutler in this game right now. I know you don't want to hear it because you want them
I like
to
Jay
tank.
Cutler.
I know, but
I want them
you
to tank.
also want them to tank so they can get a high pick.
It's too late now. They're 4-5. They've already ruined that.
Well,
They ruined the hopes of top 5 picks.
they could be like 5-11 and still.
No, they're gonna be 7-9. And they're gonna have 13th, 15th pick.
I got the Chicago Bears beating the Peytonless Broncos. I got to win quite easy, especially with what's his name, Langford.
Yo, he's a beast.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's like a younger Matt Forte right now,
Out of Michigan State.
clowning.
I have the Broncos. Brock Osweiler is gonna come in. That's it.
That's it.
He's just gonna come in. I don't know what he's gonna do.
I mean, the way you ended off, like he's gonna come in, he's just gonna. I'm done with it. Like he's like that was a heck of a teaser. I was like, yo, he's finna go full blown fan mode right now. He usually don't do that.
He's gonna go game manager,
Yeah,
and he's gonna not throw interceptions, and defense is gonna get him through the day.
I'm not sure what this team is gonna do. They have some good receivers, got a couple of tight ends, but the problem with that team is the fact that they just can't run the ball.
I agree, but I still think the Broncos are gonna win. I don't believe in the Bears right now.
Mm-hmm.
Redskins going to Carolina. Does Carolina get upset?
Nope, not by the Redskins, not by Mr. You like that. You like that.
He's been
No.
playing really well lately.
He have. Like, all of a sudden, he just looks like Joe Theismann all of a sudden. It's like, who are you? Somebody's cousin. Sit down somewhere, dude. Anybody in that division, I'm knocking. I shoot him down. Like, I shoot him down. But Kirk, somebody's cousins, need to chill out. Tired of this team.
I have Carolina. I don't think the Redskins are gonna stay that hot. to where they
Exactly.
can score on Carolina's defense like that.
Exactly. Kirk Cousins, eventually, he's going to turn back into somebody's cousin that they didn't want.
Would it be the greatest thing ever if Cam Newton scored a touchdown, did the dab dance, and said, "You like that"?
Oh, man, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. And looks at I could hear it now. Cam has to stop, taunting people. Because somebody's he's probably going to get sacked in this game because he's scrambling quarterback. But
Yeah, they're gonna hit the dab.
somebody's going to do it, and it's like, okay. So y'all going to provoke him.
I would.
And let's not act like Gruden over there is just Mr. We're not going to taunt. Nah, he has no control over that team like that. So they're going to do something to tick Cam off, and all of a sudden the floodgates going to open. They're going to get blowed out in Charlotte.
Packers going to Minnesota. Packers have lost 3 straight. Does it continue?
Yes, it will be 4 straight. This team has a good, solid defense. They have a quarterback who can manage the game and play the game the way they need to, which is running the football first and letting the run dictate how they pass. Teddy Bridgewater's a great game manager for them right now because he hasn't been turning the ball over, which can cause the team to lose.
I have the Green Bay Packers because they're due for a win.
That's one way to look at it.
They've lost 3 in a row. Last time Green Bay went into panic mode, someone said relax and started dominating the NFL. Mm-hmm. I think Aaron Rodgers gets hot. He's made a couple mistakes 2 weeks in a row. It's
Some would say he's seeing ghosts.
And I think he corrects that and gets a W against Minnesota, who's going to come down to earth a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Bengals Cardinals.
I think the Bengals is going to recover from that horrible loss Monday after a bye week. I think they go into Phoenix, and they win a close game, a game where actually Andy Dalton winds up doing something like a game-winning drive. I think that's what it's going to come down to. what quarterback has the ball last. And I think Andy Dalton is going to have the ball last. He's going to lead this team down the field with A.J. Green, Mohamed Sanu, and company, Tyler Eifert. And they're going to beat the Cardinals at home in a thriller. Could be maybe a lot of points scored.
It is a Sunday night game, and I see it almost the same exact way, except for I have the Cardinals winning.
In the
I
thriller.
think Carson Palmer will lead because Carson Palmer has a bevy of options as well with Larry
Right.
Fitzgerald, Floyd,
Right.
Chris Johnson kind of coming back, even though he needs to calm down with the fumbles.
Right. Either way, we see it as we're going to be entertained
Yes.
come Sunday night.
Sunday night is going to be a really good game. It'll be interesting to see if the Bengals come out hot or cold after the tough loss to Houston
Plus 20 or below 20. This game.
for each team.
Yeah.
Plus,
Right.
I think it'll be a higher scoring game.
Right.
A lot of passes will be thrown. I like Jeremy Hill, Giovanni Bernard, and
Right.
Chris Johnson, but
Right.
I think it's going to be a game of the quarterbacks. You know, Carson Palmer is going to try to do something against Cincinnati.
Exactly.
Especially after all the trash talk I've been hearing.
Exactly.
He quit on the team. All right.
Like,
All right. His knee gave out on the team.
exactly.
Let's be real here. It's not like he's had the healthiest of careers.
exactly.
A great weekend coming up. I got Alvarez. He's got Cotto.
Next time we come back, we break that down.
We're gonna definitely break that down. College football, NFL. Something's gonna happen in the NBA. Something bound to happen, and we'll go over that as well.
Who knows? Maybe even talk about how many times Steph Curry's done got. Never mind.
5 threes in the game,
That's all it takes.
shooting threes all day.
Any way he wanted.
Did we score 5 threes today?
I believe so.
I think we was draining them.
Yo, I think we hit at least 8. At least 8.
As long as it's over 5, I don't care how many I have to shoot.
That's where she at. Where the eyes at? She got the eyes, man. I'm telling you.
You're not gonna want to miss the Monday show right here on the Sports Machine.
Peace out.